Hello everyone, my name is Miyuki and I'll be presenting our CS151 Project 1. Our team members are Marl, Myo, Dee, and myself. For the project, our team created a performative pop shop which allows users to borrow labubus and digicams. Our UML diagram includes several classes such as shop, vendor, customer, product, promo window, exception classes, and a rentable interface. These classes are connected to each other. For example, one shop can have 1 to several vendors and 0 to many customers. One interesting design problem I encountered was how to represent the battery usage for the digital camera. The Digicam class that I worked on had some unique methods such as power on and power off. To solve the battery problem, I first implemented a feature where the battery level is randomly determined when it is first created, and after that, when it is powered on, the battery level decreases, which simulates a real-life energy consumption. I feel like it's more realistic and it'll be more fun to interact.
Hello, my name is Marl Jonson. My group consists of myself, Aein, Miyuki Tokuhara, and Thant. And for our group project, we created a performative pop shop. The primary purpose of this pop shop is to rent or buy labubus and digicams, like as a reference to the performative male trend going on this year. So the design of our code was that there is a shop and a vendor, a product with that digicam and labubu extend from, and a customer. The temp is due to file restructurings that we did in the second half of our project. And what I was responsible for mainly was adding the override files in the models, especially promo window and shop temp. Here we have 4 overridden object methods to string equals hashcode and clone. And now one of the interesting design problems that we faced was early on when we were deciding how we would structure this performative pop shop. We had 2 interfaces, rentable and buyable. We also had a product abstract class from which we had 3 products that would extend it, matcha, digicam, and labubu. So initially we were trying to figure out how we would incorporate these 2 interfaces, rentable and buyable, into matcha, digicam, and labubu. Would we be able to rent all 3, buy all 3, some combination for each? Would each of them have just either rentable or buyable? And as we were asking those questions, we initially decided in our earlier stage that matcha would be buyable because it doesn't make sense to rent a matcha, and labubu and digicam would be rentable because if matcha had just 1, then we might as well give labubu 1, which is rentable, and digicam 1, which is rentable. And so that was set, but later on we decided it would be kind of strange to, I guess, sell matcha, and it just, overall, it made more sense later on, and to complete the requirements of the rubric, to just erase the matcha product from our program as a whole, and we would only have the labubu class and the digicam class, and we would you could buy or rent those products. So they implemented both rentable and buyable because we wanted to give the user the option to rent or buy either. We felt that gave more freedom to the customer, as well as eliminating the ambiguity of only being able to buy matcha, meanwhile only being able to rent labubu or rent digicam, because customers should be able to buy a labubu or a digicam.
So this is the customer temp class that directly interact with the vendor class and the product class. Every customer will have their first name, last name, email, and their unique ID that uses the static counter and their balance and their amount spent and the list of render history and the hash map of the render product. They use the string as a key and the actual product as a value. So we have the default constructor that pass no argument. And we have another constructor that pass the customer first name, last name, email, and cash as the argument. And whenever the constructor is called, the customer ID will be incremented, which means when we have the second user, his ID will be 2, and when we have the fifth user, his ID will be 5. We will automatically assign the ID of the user depending on how many users we have. So we have this method here, which is to print the list of the product at the vendor, and we have the run product method. This method ensures that the product is available and coded at the exact time the customer want to run the product. And it also check the product is the instance rentable, and once the product is the instance of rentable, we also check we have the stock to rent the product to the customer. Uh, we also check the customer remaining balance is greater than the product rental price. So when all the conditions are met, the customer can rent the product, and when it happens, it will deduct the rental price from the customer remaining balance and will be added to the vendor's balance. And it will also and the product the customer going to rent will be added to the hashmap of the customer's rented product. And we have the view my renters method here, which prints the list of the product that the customer rented. And we have the renter return method. This method also ensures the product available and the product is already returned at the exact time. And we also check the product is also the instance of rentable. Yeah, when all the conditions are met, the the product will be removed from the rental product customer's rental product hashware, and it will add to the rental history, the list of the rental history. Yeah. And also we have the print rental history, which print the customer's rental product throughout the operation. And we also have getters and setter. We have the setter for the first name and getter for the first name, last name, and email, and their unique ID. And we also have the method to add a fan. So this method, so if the amount the customer want to add is less than 0, it will throw the exception. If the amount is greater than 0, the amount will be added to the customer remaining balance. And also we also have the deduct method. The same if the amount is greater than 0, it will be the amount will be deducted from the customer's remaining balance. And we have the getter for amount spent here. We have the hashmap get rented product, which return the hashmap of the rented product. We also have this toString and equals method overridden. We also have hashcode method overridden to ensure our customer objects work correctly in our hashmap or hash set. And also we have the customer time clone method operator to create a safe copy of customer object. So when we duplicate a customer record, we make sure the changes to the copy don't affect the original. They're completely independent, which prevents accidental data corruption. We have the vendor temp class here. So the vendor temp class also directly interact with the customer temp class and product class. So every vendor will have their name, their unique ID, and their email and their balance. And the promotion window, if it is available, their product list, the hash mark of their product list, which take the key as the integer for the product ID, and it also take the value as the actual product. So firstly, we have default consider, which takes no argument, and we have another constructor that pass the name and email as the parameter. Uh, so and we have the debug method to do the testing. And also we have the stock lovable method, which take the price, color, and X-ray as a parameter. So whenever we stock the lovable, the product ID will be incremented, which means we automatically assign the ID of the product. Then we create a new object of labu that takes the current ID, price, color, and their rarity as the parameter. We were like after new object is created, we'll add it to the hash map of the product list hash map. Same goes for stock digicam method. So whenever we create the new object, the product ID will be incremented. It will be added to the hash map product list. We also have the method restock by ID that takes the vendor product ID and the quantity we want to add as a parameter. So this method ensures that the quantity must be positive and the vendor ID, the vendor is available. So when all those conditions are met, the quantity that we want to restock will be added to the remaining stock at the vendor, and it will print the message to ensure that our methods work correctly. And we have the update price by ID, the pass the vendor product ID, and the price as a parameter throws and it also throws the exception. So we make sure that the product is available. If the product is available, we call the supply from the product class to adjust the price of the certain product. And we have the print inventory method that print the product of the vendor, the print the list of the product at the vendor. And we also have the disclosing product by ID, which is we this method ensure we can remove any product by using the product ID from the vendor product list. And we also have the set promotion window, which create a new object from our promotion window class. And we also have the cancel promotion window, which we can manually cancel our promotion anytime. And we also have setters and getter for the name, for the vendor ID, and for the vendor email. And we also have the finance, the meta credit. So whenever the customer make purchase or rent the product, it will be the amount the customer spent will be added to the vendor's balance. And we also have the debit method, which is to withdraw the money from the vendor's remaining balance. This method ensures the amount is positive and the amount is greater than our vendor's actual balance. And we also have getter for balance and promotion window and our product list. And we also have toString and equals method overridden and we also have hashcode method overridden to ensure that our vendor class work correctly with the hashmap and hash set. And we also have clone method overridden to create a safe copy. So we make sure that changes to the copy don't affect the original. That way we can prevent accidental data corruption. Thank you very much.
Hey guys, this is D. Before I start, I just would like to let you guys know that I have been sick and my voice is kind of a little bit cracked. I might cough during this recording. I'm sorry about that, guys. And so I will be talking about a class named ShopTemp that has the main method for our project. So this is kind of like a small rental shop system that has separate interfaces for vendors and customers. This system allows each to manage their own actions. So this is the class ShopTemp. The ShopTemp is just the naming system for me. I hope you guys treat this as a shop. So inside it, I have two attributes. One is a list of vendor list, and two is the customer, current customer. I have yet to learn databases, so I don't really know how to store these. That's why I created these attributes right here. And then I have the maximum instances to check if I have created more than 100 instances of a class. Right? And inside the ShopTemp constructor, I am going to create vendors and create customer. And inside the create vendors, I have a while loop. And then I'm going to try these codes. I am going to create a Labubu vendor using vendor constructor. And I'm going to increment vendor instances of vendor. The same goes for digicam vendor. And if the instances are more than maximum instances, I am going to throw a new check exception that extend exception. That's why we need the try catch block. And I'm going to catch that over 100 objects exception right here. This is mainly for the programmer. If we happen to add more instances for the vendors or more instances for the products, we're going to catch that. And then I use a random object to get the random value for our product. And then I'm going to create products inside create vendors. When I designed this create vendors, I thought it doesn't make sense for the products to exit first before the vendors exit. That's why I included inside the vendor. So this is like an instance of the vendor. Inside the vendor, I have this method called stock Labubu, which basically calls the Labubu constructor, passing the arguments for it. And then same concept again. Okay, the same concept goes for the digicam vendor. Inside the vendor class, I have a method named stock digicam, which basically calls the digicam constructor. And then after I created the product, the vendor first, and then the product inside the vendors, I add those vendors inside my list, the vendor list. Alright, and this is create customer. This is the same concept. So just for the sake of this video, I'm gonna skip the same concept. Alright, before I track these, I would like to show you guys my main. So when I designed this program, I wanted to keep my main as short as possible, so that I know if there is an error, I know where exactly the error is. So I created a lot of helper methods, and I keep my main shop. I create a new shop, and I create a new scanner. Because I only want to use one scanner object, and I want to keep using the scanner object in my helper method. I pass the scanner here. So my main is gonna do this again. So let's trace a handle rule method. It's gonna be right at the top, right here. So if the scanner is null, it's gonna throw null pointer exception. So we are gonna get the user input choice from get rule with the passed in scanner method. The get rule method is gonna be right here. So we're gonna display row menu. What is row menu? It's gonna be these things. So if the user is a vendor, they need to input 1. If the user is a customer, they need to input 2. So also for exit 0, when I coded this program, I forgot about the fact that we need to let the user exit the program just by typing exit. That's why I put in 0 for like every of my menu. So what 0 gonna do is it basically gonna go up one level above. Alright, this is display row menu, and I play right here, and I put it in a loop. So I am gonna get the user input as a string and pass the user input inside as a parameter to helper catch user type exit method. So let's trace the helper catch user type exit method right here. Alright, I had to fix the program. I missed the requirement. Alright, that is the comment. And then if the user input is null, we're gonna throw this exception, invalid user choice, a check exception. If it equals exit, we're gonna call this method called helper exit with the passed in scanner. This is helper exit. We're just gonna print out a line, close the scanner, and exit the program with exit code 0. Alright, let's go back to get row. And then, because in our display menu, we only have 3 valid choice, 0, 1, or 2. If the user input, before I talk about that, I'm going to talk about that. I changed the type of the user input from string to integer here. And if the user input is not an integer, this pause int is going to throw a number format exception. With this error code, input must be an integer or typed exit to exit the program. You can type 0 here, because 0 means like you will go one level above, it's going to exit the program. This is and then the input mismatch exception. I only needed that when I used scanner.nextInt. I don't really need it right here, but I just put it right there. And then we're going to return choice. This is from get rule. Let's go back to handle rule. So we got the user choice from get rule. If the user choice is 0, which means go up one level above, we're just going to exit, because there's no level above this. And then for case 1 is a vendor, we are going to, so in reality, it doesn't make sense for everyone who uses our program to change the menu of a vendor without verifying they are the vendor. So I call this method validate vendor and return vendor. The method is right here. So I put this in while true loop again. I asked the user to input the email address of the vendor, of the shop that they own. Of the vendor. If the email address does not exist in our vendor list, we're going to return no. So this is me handling the exit. If it equals 0, we're going to go up one level above. All right, and that's about it. So we validate vendor and we return vendor. So if the email address is wrong, the vendor is going to be null. If it is null, we're just going to return. I don't need to put this in a while true loop, because I handle rule inside my main with a while true loop. The same things happen for handle customer choice. This is a default branch that I put in just to show there is a default branch for the switch case, but this will never get executed because I am throwing an error for get rule if the choice is not 0, 1, or 2. Alright, so this is handle rule. Let's go back to our code. Okay, where am I at? Oh, I am at the handle rule. Okay, cool. Sorry, I'm kind of... Where's handle rule? Gonna be right here. No. Handle vendor choice right here. So case 1, I forgot to tell you guys about this. Case 1 calls handle vendor choice. Case 2 calls handle customer choice. So let's trace to handle vendor choice. This is handle vendor choice. This is exactly the same concept, but for every case... Sorry guys, excuse me. So this is the same concept. We're gonna get the user input from get vendor choice. So let's trace it back to get vendor choice very quickly. Alright, get vendor choice right here. It's gonna call display vendor menu like the get rule. I'm gonna skip this pretty fast. This is get vendor menu. These are all the options that a vendor can do. So for every cases, I have helper methods except the case 8. Because as I said before, because I don't have the knowledge of database, I am gonna log out for this vendor and let a customer enter the system. Right. And this is handle vendor choice. And the same thing happened for my handle customer case. For every case, I have a helper method. Alright, and I'm gonna get the customer choice from get customer choice helper method, exactly like get vendor choice right here. This is the get customer choice. It calls get customer menu again, until customer enters a valid choice and returns the choice to enter customer choice. This is customer menu. Alright, and then for the sake of the time, I'm gonna go really fast. Okay, this is list all the vendors. This is the method inside the shop that I am gonna call for customer choice right here. And what I do is I check the vendors list attribute. If that is empty, we're just gonna return. If that is not empty, one cool thing is I am gonna show the promotion that is associated with the vendor. I'm gonna talk about that later. Alright, and this is just listing all the vendors. Alright, and these are all the helper methods for a vendor. So we have validated the vendor and we know which specific vendor is currently logged into our system right now. So if the vendor wanna choose case 1, which is update price by product 1, we have the vendor. We have everything associated with the vendor already. So this is also the same logic, but I will check this one with you guys. I put this as usual as in a while loop. So if a customer enter an invalid input, I'm gonna catch the exception and print those exceptions out and make the user do it again. So because this is update price by product ID, we ask for the user input, we exit the program. If the input is exit, and we pass into integer, and I name this vendor product ID because this product ID is associated with this vendor. Because every products are created or stored inside the vendor. And then we prompt the user to enter the updated price for the product ID. And then we call the method update price by ID that exists inside the vendor. There's a method called like this inside the vendor, and that method throws a product not found exception. Where we catch this one, and we also prompt the user again until we get this update price by ID executed correctly. So this is the case 1 helper method for update price by product ID for a vendor. And then this is discontinue product by ID. This is the same concept as the case 1, so I'm going to skip this. Alright, so for the vendor case 4, a vendor has an attribute which is an instance of a promo window. So if we want to set a promo, if a vendor wants to set a promo window, he's going to call this method. This is exactly the same concept, and he's gonna be asked to enter the user the discount fraction. This is the time. So if a vendor wants to create a promotion window, we for now I'm going to use this promotion window exit for the next 7 days, and then we're going to call the set promotion, which basically has a constructor for promo window inside the vendor, and that's about it. Case 5 is canceling the promotion window, and I have the method for that inside the vendor, and I call that straight in the case for my switch, so I did not include that. This is case 6 advanced. This is the same logic. I will just skip these. Case 7 withdraw cache. Exactly the same case. So these are the helper methods for customer. These methods are called inside. Okay, I'm gonna show you again. Handle customer choice. If the customer choice 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, these are gonna get executed. So let me go back again to customer. These are all the helper methods for customer. Helper method for browse vendor inventory by vendor ID. Like we list all the vendors. This is the same concept. I'm gonna show this in my demo. I will do demo zone. This is browse vendor inventory by vendor ID. This is the same concept. And then because we asked the user to input a vendor ID, we check if a vendor with that vendor ID exists in our vendor list. We basically iterate the vendor list and we check if it exists. If it don't exist, we're just gonna throw vendor not found exception. Right here. Throw this and catch this right here. And print the inventory of the vendor. This is the case 2. Browse vendor inventory by vendor ID. The case 2 is the case that make me spend the most time. Maybe because it's like a long program, I forgot what methods I can use if a customer wants to rent a product. So let's trace this method, the code and rent. We're gonna list all the vendors because I'm gonna ask the customer to enter the vendor ID, and I'm gonna show the ID associated with each vendor right here. This is just exiting with the helper catch user type exit. This is the vendor ID. We check if the vendor with the vendor ID exit in our vendor list. If the vendor with that ID don't exist, we throw vendor not found. If it exists, we show the customer the inventory. And then we ask the user what is the ID of the product that you would like to see the price of. and we get the vendor product ID. These are the same concept. I'm gonna skip that. And then because we got that product ID, we're gonna check what product is that. And if you remember it, we have created products inside the vendor. So the vendor has has attribute, a product list, which is not a list, but which is a map. I just call it like this. And that attribute is private. So this is the method that I needed to use. And I put in the key, which is a vendor product ID. I put in the key, and the value is the product. If the product with that the vendor product ID is it, we're gonna get the pointer to the product. If the product is null, we're gonna throw product not found. And if the product is rentable, it's a type. If the product extends rentable, we're gonna call rentable method that we override in that specific product, which is named code renter coded at. All right, and then we get the price. This is the price. So this code renter, what it basically does is it's going to apply discount to the price if a vendor has created a promotion window for all of his products inside his inventory. So this is going to show the actual price that the customer need to pay. And I'm going to ask the customer one more time, do you want to rent the product with this price? And if the customer replies yes, I call rent product. So what this method is going to do is it's going to deduct the price from the customer wallet and add it to the vendor's funds and change the stock of the product. All right, that is code and rent. This method is the most difficult method that I did in this main. And then for return product, I show my customer view my rented. This is a method. So because a customer has an attribute called rented list, which is a list of all the products that the customer has rented, I basically just iterate that list and print everything here, view my renter. So a customer is going to see their renter. If the size of the rented product list is 0, which means a customer has rented nothing. So I'm just going to return in that case. All right, and we ask the user again, what is the ID? What is the vendor ID of the product that you want to return? Because every vendor can have conflicting ID. Labubu vendor and Digicam vendor don't know each other. So conflicting ID can exist. So I got the vendor ID, I got the vendor attribute, I got the vendor instance from here. If the vendor is null, which means the vendor ID that user type here is wrong. Does not exist. And then I ask the product ID, I look for the product. So if you remember it, the rented product, I use the map. And for the key of the rented product, I use this one, which is a combination of vendor ID and product ID. To create the key for this rented product map, I have a method inside the customer called makeKey. All right. So I need to make the key, and I need to look inside the customer rented product list if that product exists or not, product with the key exists or not. If it does not, it's going to throw illegal state exception. I'm going to catch that one right here. If the product exists, I'm going to assign this to here, and I'm going to call renter return of the current that exists in the current customer. All right. What this basically does is it's going to reset the stock back, and it's going to subtract the product, this product from the customer's rented product list. All right, case 6 is very simple. I am going to skip this. This is going to just add this just for the customer to add more funds. Case 7 is, case 7 is, let me check. All right, and then customer menu. Case 7 is view balance. That's why I just put that as a method of like this, my wallet, total balance, and call get balance because balance is a private attribute. All right, and that's about it. And before I start, every customer is going to start with a balance of 200. Right, I will quickly show you guys a demo of my project. Right here, so any step of my program can accept exit. Oh, sorry, I will type in exit. That's what I will see. I will run again. Not the problem, but the terminal. Where's my terminal? My sentence up. Okay. Oh, I think I typed something wrong, did I? Oh yeah, right here. I type exit right here. So let's run the program. Let's choose I'm a vendor. So if a user chooses to see the vendor's menu, he has to verify that he is a true vendor. And I have these for here. I'm gonna access Labubu rental shop. Oh, I typed something wrong. This is my exception helping me see what I did wrong. rentlabubu11 at gmail.com. But in reality, I would also ask the user to type in the password, but I don't really want to type 2 strings here. That's why I only put Gmail here. And then I'm going to show you list all my inventory. This is all the products that Labubu vendor has. Excuse me. If you want to check this Labubu has ID 100, price 100, 11 by 31. The car is lychee. Alright, and I am gonna update the price of that. What if I type in wrong, like invalid ID? Let me type no such product exit within your inventory. I should have thrown right here. Okay, let's continue. Let's update the price of product Labubu with product ID 100. I'm gonna update the price to 100. And then I am gonna show you option 3, discontinue an item by product ID. Let's discontinue 99. Alright, that's great. So the discontinue by product ID method inside the vendor flip the stock to 0. And its rentable method check the stock. Only when the stock is 1, a customer can rent that product. And then let's see. Okay, let's see view funds. There are not going to be any funds because no customer has rented any product yet. Your fund 0. Cool. And then let me add funds just to show you the options. Let me add 1,000. Alright. And then let me log out here. And I'm going to go to the Digicom vendor. Rent. This is the menu for the digital camera rental shop. Alright, what I would like to do here is I am gonna set a promotion. So this is asking me what is the discount fraction. What if I put in 100? Oh, it throws an exception. It needs to be 0 or 1. And then what if I throw, because I can exit every step of my program with exit, I can just simply exit with exit right here, but I won't do it, but I will type EXT. This is another exception. Let's just set a promotion for 50%. A promotion window is created. Every product from the digital camera inventory is 50% off. Alright, let's log out. Oh, no, let's log out. And now, I will play the role of a customer. I would like to code and rent a product. So this is the vendor directory. I can see the vendor ID here. And the type of the shop right here. The type of the vendors right here. So I'm going to rent one Labubu. I'm going to rent project ID. Oh, every customer is going to start with a balance of 200. So I'm going to rent this Labubu ID 100. Alright. Oh, I'm so sorry. I type in 1 for project ID. I'm supposed to type in 100. I want to rent 100. Let me code again. Let me rent 100. The price is 100. For the Labubu with ID 100. Proceed with rent it? Yes. And then let me rent one more Labubu. Before I rent a valid Labubu, let me rent the Labubu. Oh my gosh. Let me go back. 1 level up. So 0 means 1 level up. Let me run again. Let me run. I actually want to show what happens if we were to rent a product that is discontinued by the vendor. Earlier, we have discontinued the Labubu 99. Okay, let us rent 99. It will show us the price. We will enter yes. The product is unavailable to rent. I can run this one because the Labubu vendor has discontinued this product. And then let us rent one more Labubu. Just let's rent 95. Alright, I can run it. You have successfully rented the product. I have a remaining balance of 75.82. Let me rent one more Digicom and I will move on. 3, 2, okay. Oh, let me check how much money I have left in my balance. I have $75. Alright. If you see the product ID 949, you will see the price is 106. But if you remember it, we have applied a promotion window for Digicom vendor with 50% discount. So I'm gonna rent 49, even though I only have 60 something in my balance. Oh, right here, the rental cost after discount is 53.47. So I'm gonna run this. Cool. And then I am gonna view my not view. I will log out, and I will enter as a rent Labubu. All right. Now, if we look at how much funds we make, you will see we have 1,124. 1,000 is because 1,000 is the funds that we added. 124 is the profit that we get by renting our Labubu. We have rented this one and this one. Cool. And then I'm gonna log out and log in back as a customer. And then I'm gonna return the product. So I have rented these products. I have rented 2 Labubus and I have rented 1 Digicam. So I'm gonna return Labubu with 100, ID 100. Alright, I have successfully returned. If I want to view my active renters, I'm gonna see only 2 products that I have rented right now. And then for the return product, what if? So for the Labubu, we have only rented ID 95. What if I try to return 100 again? Oh, I've never rented this product. It means I don't have that product inside my view my active renters. Inside my active renters, that's why. Alright, let's go 1 level up with Zero. And what can I show you guys more? View balance. I have 22.35. So let me add funds. Okay, enter the amount of the money. Let me add negative $5. Amount cannot be negative. This is one of my exceptions. How about EST? Enter type invalid type valid number or exit. What if let's just type 0. Cool. 100. And I have updated the balance. So and just exit my program. Oh, let's show you how my exit works. Go to code and rent, go to the product, and right here I will type exit. Alright, that is the end of my program. Thank you. I'm sorry about my voice and sorry about the cough. Thank you though. Where do I stop?